All right, so this has probably been the most asked question throughout all of my videos about the Giant Contend AR, and that is, what wheels should I go with and what tires should I go with? So I should have made this video a long time ago, but I was lazy and did not put it together. Sorry about that, but here it is, finally, the video that I give you some recommendations on what I would run with the Giant Contend AR. All right, if at all possible, run tubeless. Now, tubeless, I know it seems like it's a headache to get it set up and everything. Also, it costs a little bit extra with the tires are a little more expensive. But in the long run, it's going to save you some money and some headache because as far as running tubeless, you get away without having many flats. In the past, actually, I had a lot of flats when I ran tubes. Now I've been running tubeless for the past 6-7 months and I haven't had a single flat. Now I did have a slip in my tire one time. I had to put a plug in it and that worked great. So you definitely want to bring a plug with you. I do carry an extra tube with me. It's actually a Tubeless tube, which is a lot smaller and lighter than a normal tube. And they're expensive. They're like 40 bucks a tube, but it's only my spare. I don't ever really use it. So and it allows some more room in my saddlebag for other things like tools and also, like I said, a plug to fix those tubeless tires. Also, with your tires on the Giant Contend AR, you want to run a larger road tire. So you want to do at least a 32C. If you can go up to a 35C, even better. I prefer 32Cs. They just have the perfect mixture, in my opinion, of lightweight. Also, they allow plenty of cushion on the road. And when I'm running 32Cs, I run usually no more than 60 PSI, which seems very low on the road. But if you run a larger volume tire, you actually can get away with running lower pressure, and you have the same rolling resistance as like a 25C that is at 100 or 125 PSI. I'll put a link down in the description below with bicycle rolling resistance that kind of explains that in a little more detail. So definitely check that out. So a larger tire can actually roll faster with lower pressures. And another benefit with running the 32C or larger on the Giant Contend AR is obviously it's going to bring that bottom bracket up a little higher, so that way you don't have to worry about having pedal strikes. So my favorite road tire is the Continental Grand Prix 5000 TL. Now this tire is very supple. I've used the Grand Prix 4000s in the past. This is the new version of that tire. Rolls super fast, very comfortable, very supple. The only downside with this tire is it's very expensive. The MSRP on it is $95 US dollars, which is super expensive. But if you look online, you can find them for around $50 most of the time. Now, my favorite cheap tire is actually going to be the Continental Ultra Sport 2, and now they have the 3. Now, this tire, the MSRP on it is only $25, so it's a very cheap tire, but it is the most supple, cheap tire I've used. Be sure if you do get this tire, you get the folding bead. Those tires are always better than the wire bead. Wire beads are usually your low-end tires that they're just not very supple. The rubber is very rough. They have a low TPI count. So you want to go with the folding version of any of these tires that I'm mentioning. But the Ultra 2s, I've used them in the past for my training tires because, once again, I don't mind if they wear out, especially if I can find them online for only 15 bucks or 20 bucks a tire. And they have them in 32C, and they actually measure out to be about 34 millimeters. So they're a little bit larger, which makes it perfect for the Giant Contend AR. So if you're sticking with tubes, you want to go with the Ultra 2 or Ultra 3 if you want to save some money. Now, if you have any road tires that you recommend, be sure to leave those down in the comments below. That way other people can see the other recommendations that are out there. My favorite gravel tire is the Continental Speed Rides. They're 42C width, and I love these tires. Now, the thing about these tires is actually the downside is they're not tubeless compatible. Now, I run them tubeless. What makes them not tubeless is the bead is not very tight around the rim. So what I do is I run double rim tape on my rims, so that way it tightens up that gap. When it tightens up the gap, then you can air these up to be tubeless. Now, the sidewalls are a little thin because, once again, they're not tubeless, but if you air them up and you have a lot of sealant in them, you can lay them sideways and they'll seal the sidewall, and you can do the other side as well. But once again, this is a lot to do, especially if you're new to cycling. So if you don't want to deal with any of this stuff, then you definitely want to look at some of the other tires I'm going to recommend that are tubeless compatible. These tires are my favorite because they're lightweight. They actually are very good puncture resistance. I haven't had a flat with these, and I've used these on a lot of gravel races in the past, so no issues whatsoever with flats. They have a very smooth center tread. So if you're riding on the road to get to gravel roads and gravel trails and all that stuff, these tires are perfect because they roll so fast on pavement, and then they also roll fast on the gravel as well. Very supple as well. Because the sidewalls are thinner, they actually are more supple. So when you're going over rough terrain, it actually takes away some of that rough chatter and everything. Another big benefit of these tires is actually they're cheap. They're only about $25 a tire. So if you can get them set up tubeless, $25 a tire, that is an extremely good deal for some very fast rolling gravel tires. Now, if you're running some really wide rims on your gravel bike, then the speed rides may be a little too wide for the Giant Contend AR, so you may want to go with something like the Schwabe G1 all-round tires. Those are 38C width, and those are great tires, very smooth, very supple. They are a little more expensive. MSRP on those are about $80. Now, I did look online. You can find them for about $50 if you search on the internet, so you can find a deal on those, but they're still, fairly expensive. But these are tubeless compatible, so if they're tubeless compatible, they're going to be a lot easier to set up than what the speed rides are to set up. Another one of my favorite gravel tires is going to be the Specialized Trigger. They have these in 38C as well, and I think they have some in 45C as well, but 45 they will not clear the Giant Contend AR. So the 38C tires, they're really the way they're designed. I really love this design with the center tread is really low, and then it has some knobs on the side, so that way when you're cornering, you have some grip, and then when you're upright trying to carry as much speed as possible, you have very low tread, so that way you're rolling faster. So the Specialized Triggers are a little cheaper than the Schwabes. MSRP on these are around $50 a tire. You can find them a little cheaper if you search online, usually around $40 a tire if you look in different locations. But so these three tires are actually my favorite gravel tires that I would go with. All right, so let's talk about wheels. And wheels you could spend a fortune on. There's a lot of big brands out there like Envy, and obviously Zip. And with those, you're going to be spending more than you would on your whole Giant Contend AR. So we're going to be focused more on the budget-oriented wheels. All right, so first off, let's talk about some of the features that you're going to want with a wheel set. All right, first off, you want to get clinchers. All right, so you don't want to get tubulars. Tubulars are the old style racing tires that would actually have to be glued onto the rim. So you don't want to do that. You want to go with clincher, and you want to go with tubeless if possible. Also as well, you want them to be lightweight. And I'm not talking crazy lightweight. I would usually try to shoot for about 1,700 grams or less. The stock wheels on the Giant Contend come in at like 2,100 grams or more. You're going to drop a pound or more if you go with the lighter wheels. Now, as far as gravel wheels, what you look for, most people look for is a wider rim on the inside. Internal width is what the important thing is on wheels. Now, on gravel, they usually recommend you running anywhere from 21 to 25 millimeter internal width. And what that does is that actually will balloon out your tire a little bit, and it gives your tire more of a base. So when you're turning, the tire is less likely to fold on you on the sidewalls. Okay, so the wider it is, it's going to make it where the sidewalls can run lower pressures without folding. And when you can run lower pressures like that, it gives you more grip. It also helps with comfort as well. But you don't have to. I mean, that's just recommended. I actually just run right now some cheap Alex wheels that are 19 millimeter internal width, which is like old school mountain bike width. And yeah, it's not perfect and it's not the best scenario, but they're cheap. I mean, you can find 19 millimeter internal width wheels a lot cheaper than you can the 21 to 25 millimeter rims. All right, for road wheels, actually, they are going more towards the wider trend as well. So really, once again, they're kind of recommending going 21, 25 millimeter internal width. Really, once again, I'm running 19 millimeter internal width on some carbon rims that I have. So it's not the end of the world if you don't have wide internal width. It just, once again, it helps with that tire and keeping it from deforming when you're going through turns. Now in the past with road tires, you used to run like a crazy high pressure. It was like 100 to 125 PSI. You would run like 23C or 25C wide tires. But now, like I said before, we know that this is actually not the best scenario for riding on the road. For maybe on the track where it's just a pure flat surface, yes, it works great for that. But on the real world conditions, you want your tires to be a little wider. You want to run some lower pressures. Something else to look at when you're looking at road rims is actually the depth of the rim. Okay, so that has to do with aerodynamics. So the taller or thicker your rim is, all right, the more aerodynamic it is. And there's different widths. I mean, you got some that are, you know, really, really small. And then you got, you know, of course, you know, medium-sized width, and then you got, you know, 80 millimeter, okay? So usually I recommend running anywhere from 35 to 40 millimeter rim depths, because you kind of get the benefit of both worlds there. Because obviously when you go with a really deep rim, it's going to add a lot of weight to your wheel, okay? So I usually go for all-rounder. I go anywhere from 35 to 40 millimeter. I actually run 38 millimeter of what mine are right now. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some of the wheel set companies you can look at. So Hunt Wheels are actually based out of the UK. They make some great alloy rims. And what's good about their rims is they have all the latest features on their rims, but you're also not paying a ton for them. They have very good weight as well. So they have the wider rims. They also have it where they're tubeless compatible, and their weights are usually well below that 1,700 gram limit that I was talking about before. The only downside of them is availability. Obviously, a lot of people like their wheels and they sell out of them pretty quickly. So you have to watch the website, and they'll give you a heads up when supplies are going to be, you know, fulfilled again. So just go to their website, be sure to watch them. You can pre-order some of their wheel sets as well. So if you have some time, you may want to do that. Now, when it comes to carbon, obviously carbon is going to be more expensive. There's two companies that I really like for carbon. One of them is Light Bicycle. They started back in 2011, and at first they were that kind of Chinese company, or actually from Taiwan, company that a lot of people were like, I'm never going to run those because they're going to blow up on me. You know, well, turns out they were great wheels. And they actually started their own company. They broke away from one of the major manufacturers or factories there to make their own rims. And I've owned several pairs of their rims. They have worked great. They haven't exploded on me or anything like that. So, and I know a lot of people who have used their rims before with no issues whatsoever. Now, another company is called EIE, and this is a fairly new company, and they're once again based out of Taiwan. They have a lot of great options there, and you know, very competitive prices. Now, one thing about both of these companies, it's a little more involved. You have to pick your rim, you have to pick your spokes, you have to pick your hubs. So it is a little more involved deciding on what you're going to go with. But just as a you know, ballpark, if you go with any kind of DT Swiss hub, that's going to be pretty good. Also, as far as spokes, you have different types of spokes you can pick from. Obviously, the larger the spoke, the stronger it is, and the smaller the spoke, the lighter it is, but more prone to possibly breaking. So if you go on the website, there's a lot of stuff in there that they'll help you out with. They have a great little chat section there on the side, so you can ask questions. You can get a really, really good wheel set, carbon wheel set at that, for extremely low prices. Okay, so I know there's been a lot and everything, very broad, but I will put some links down in the description below, so that way you can go and find some of these wheels that I recommend, also some of the tires I recommend. If you have any suggestions, be sure to leave them in the comments below, so that way we all can benefit from that. If you've enjoyed this video or found it beneficial, be sure to hit that like button, also hit the subscribe button, and share it with any of your friends who are looking for some wheels or tire combinations that they want to upgrade with their bike. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.